So, guys, moving on to the next topic that we had on hand, which is about the drives. We're kicking off our drive program in August. Can't wait for you to get behind the wheel and experience. They mentioned 6 cities: LA, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Seattle. And then 2 types of experiences: at home and then the tour event. So for at home drives, simply schedule the date and time that's most convenient. We'll bring the vehicle to you. You can choose an in-depth walk around by one of our team members or opt for a self-guided tour. And then as far as the tour events, you're going to be able to meet up with other people, of course. They expect it to be pretty busy, and so due to that demand, they'll prioritize pre-order holders for those experiences. So what do you guys think about that?
So my first thought is I love that they're offering the flexibility to do both kind of a one-on-one at home experience as well as a larger tour experience. So for me, I want to see a wider variety of vehicles and exterior and interior colors. And I would be more apt to take them up on the tour event. I'm just disappointed that Texas is not already on the list. I know that we've got a bunch of Texas pre-order holders. And
so, Skylar, I just want to intervene. I'll guarantee you no closed state to direct sales will have this opportunity for for a delivery at your home. I'll guarantee that. Because they'd have to hire a third party.
For a tour or for
yeah, for like, the sign up, sign and drive, like they'll deliver it to your house, and drive it. And I bet experiences aren't going to take place in closed states either. Like me, I'm already planning. If it's in New York, I'll drive to New York. It's, an hour for me to get there. But I'll bet closed states versus open states, there's definitely going to be an issue there, providing experiences in closed states.
Well, isn't Illinois already a closed state, and Chicago's in it?
Yeah, and so is New York, and so is Washington.
Yeah,
Is Illinois a closed state?
I don't think Illinois is, but I'm pretty sure Washington is.
Yeah, Washington and New York are on the Tesla only list.
Yep.
The thing that I look at when I see these cities is West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, and then there's 2 kind of in the middle, pretty close, Chicago and Detroit. Yeah. That leaves a pretty big gap in the middle of the country. And so obviously more announced soon. There's gotta be more, Skylar, that are going to be towards the center of the country. I would be personally surprised if Texas Austin isn't one of them, because we've already had a Texas event, right?
Yeah, so Fully Charged Live was in Austin. I mean, that wasn't a Rivian specific event, but the other thing that I have to get off my chest, Rivian needs to stop using the word soon. And I know that every single pre-order holder would agree with that. I mean, it's literally become a joke. I mean, just either leave it out or provide something more specific, but quit using the word soon. And Kyle, you have to leave that in. I'm asking you to leave that in.
Well, I'll leave it in. I mean, I would agree. There's even things like the last story we had was literally a month ago, and they said expect more updates soon about. I mean, I thought that the interior R1T would be the next week. I mean, that's just not a difficult article to write, photograph, or anything. I mean, come on. But
literally crickets on the interior of the vehicle, other than one of the accessories that we saw this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to clarify real quick about closed states versus open states. So Washington is considered an open state.
Interesting.
So I'll read to you all the closed states. You ready? You have Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, so no Illinois, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. So I don't think any of those experienced cities fall in what is considered to be a closed state.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting to see
Good
what
catch,
happens
Jeff.
when those new cities are announced soon. Yeah, and thanks for looking that up. That does help a ton. I think that I remember from one of our conversations in the past, like kind of almost two different categories of closed, and so maybe that's where I was mistaken with Illinois.
Yeah, well, that too. But I'll say this: no Southeast states either, to include Florida, which has got to be huge on their list of states that they have pre-order holders and a supposed experience center in Miami based off of their career page, to not have any tours, at least initially announced.
Yeah. California, Texas, and Florida are huge states, right, for pre-order presents? So
they have to be.
Yeah.
They have to be. It's going to be a shame for those of us who actually want to drive the vehicle first. Where does that put us? And I'll get the truck regardless of a test drive or not. Although I'd love to see possibly some other colors to consider, limestone or launch green. But for those that want to drive and their number's called, excuse me, where does that shuffle them in the list if their number's called, they want to test drive, but the ability to see the truck in person, see the colors, drive it happens beforehand? Where do they go?
Yep.
That would be my concern on timing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think we texted about that this morning. I'll bet these first cities are going to be, if I had to estimate or take a guess, I would say from like now through the end of the year, I'll bet you like that drive program, won't, the delivery to your home drive program won't be available until, 2022 at some point, like spring 2022. Because if you think about it, if they're creating vehicles, think of how many you would have to create that are just sort of available, almost like stock vehicles, right?
Right.
I mean, every single color, every single, well, I guess it doesn't matter on interiors, but, every single color, and how many different cities would they have like sort of like a shipping location, right, to deliver those vehicles from? I think it's just so much infrastructure to set up a program like that, given their, resource constraints, doesn't sound like it'll happen anytime soon. So that's my gut. But again, I really wasn't planning on taking this vehicle, and having to drive it. To me, the advantage of being the first one to have a Rivian, there are some costs that you have to assume, right? One of those is not having the full experience, the full buying process experience, and I'm okay with that personally.
Yeah, just from an interesting timing perspective, I think. I mean, customer deliveries are going to start before test drives start. So if these test drives start in August and deliveries start in July, then that is going to have to be customers that are willing to take a vehicle without test driving first and rely on that 7 days, 1,000 miles. And I would be in that bucket of people that would be willing to do that. And I'm just curious, how are people going to be able, I hope we get to see colors and pictures of colors very, very soon, at the very least, because I wouldn't be able to finalize my configuration without it.
Right.
So
let me ask you a question though, Skylar. Would you be okay with, them lining up every color outside of the normal plant in the sunshine and taking a picture and sending that to you? Or do you feel like you need to see that in person?
At least the pictures, and you know what, until I get those pictures, I cannot really answer that question, Jeff, because I might be satisfied with the pictures, or I may be like, gosh, I really need to see one or two of those live and in person. So
I'll jump in on that. That's a great question. I'll jump in on my answer there. Pictures would be great as far as a first step, just to like, make sure that I'm not going to get like a color that's totally off. We did a whole episode on color and kind of showed like the yellow ranging from Chick-fil-A to the sun to everything in between, and then forest green, on the one video versus like the configurator, it's just quite a bit different, So I just want to get the ballpark. So a picture will give you the ballpark for sure, but even more than like a professionally lit picture, which is great and makes the cars look great, I would say, even though it's not up to your brand spec, or let us do this with the stinking iPhone on video mode, just walk around all of the vehicles in different colors, because the light will change. The exposure is going to be somewhere in the middle. As long as you know what you're doing, you're not going to over or underexpose. But there is just something about seeing the colors in the vehicle through something not so fancy as a professionally edited picture. Same thing like when you are going to go buy a house. I can make that house look like anything with my professional equipment. But if I was going to be buying like across state, I'd be like, no, I want my realtor to go in there and FaceTime me a video with this thing. That'll tell the truth. So I almost just want the truth from a phone. Just do a walk around with it. And then when you, like, if the sun's on one side and when you go around that back side, you're going to see the shadow side of the paint, and it'll change, and you'll just get a much better feel with a very sloppy, rough walk around iPhone video. And that's what that would do it for me.
And honestly, I'd love to see them do that on a sunny day outside, and also on an overcast day outside, because you'll pick up differences there too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, you'll definitely get a cloudy day in Illinois.
That's right, Jimmy. You get a windy day too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to like throw a wrench in this, and Kyle, you may just want to just leave this out, but talking about this and talking about the lengths that Rivian is going to for like the best customer experience, at some point I kind of also just want to say, like, you don't have to do all that for me. Like, you don't have to roll out the red carpet for me. I just want to, I want a simple process, in getting the car. And I feel like they're doing all this with such grandeur, like all the experience centers, and, they're trying so much to cater that at some point, is it too much to the fact that it's costing me when I'm actually going to get my car?
Yeah. There's only so much energy to put into programs, and that's interesting. I do think that these programs will far exceed and go beyond us launch edition people, so a lot of the kind of infrastructure they're putting into place now from a marketing standpoint will far outlast us launch edition people. But that is a good point. Thanks for watching. If you get a chance, please check us out at rivianstories.com, and every like, subscribe, and share helps. Thanks again.